Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another fresh edition of Showbiz Expo. My name still remains Ladi Jolasho. You are overstepping your boundary. ALAAFIN fires OONI, orders withdrawal of Ilaji's chieftaincy title. The ALAAFIN of Oyo, Oba Abimbola Akeem Owoadewan, has faulted the conferment of the chieftaincy title of Okoloma of Yoruba land on a business tycoon, Dotun Sanusi, also known as Ilaji, by the OONI of IFE, Oba Enitan Adeyeye Ogunwusi Ojajatu. Oba Owode said conferment of chieftaincy title, which borders on the entirety of Yoruba land by the OONI of IFE, was not only an affront to the referred institution of the ALAAFIN, who is the titan of Yoruba land and who holds exclusive right to confer any chieftaincy title which covers the entire Yoruba land on anyone. ALAAFIN, in a statement on Monday by his media aide, Bode Durojaye, said, let me quote him, the OONI of IFE is behaving as if there is no authority to check and calm him to order. And because of that above the law syndrome of his, he is in the habit of walking on everybody's back, including the apex courts in the country. The Supreme Court, which had ruled the exclusive preserve of the ALAAFIN to confer chieftaincy title that covers the entire Yoruba land on anyone. Unquote. All right. This is becoming interesting. Let's go further. The monarch added that the instrument of office presented to OONI Ogunwusi during his installation specifically limits his traditional area of authority to the old Oromiyan local government in Osun State. No, I beg to disagree with that, which has now been split into Ife Central, Ife North, and Ife South LGAs. All right. Okay, let's go further. Oba Owode demanded the revocation of the title on Sanusi within 48 hours. 48 hours has passed, though. Okay, now. He accused the OONI of IFE of taking the peace and unity initiative of the ALAAFIN for granted by taking decisions that are not only ultra-vires, but derogatory to the titan of the Yoruba land. All right, let me continue. He said, and I quote again, the dictum that nobody is above the law of the land is now being put on a crucial test as the reality of our time makes it very obligatory for the ALAAFIN to call the OONI of IFE to order and demand revocation of the so-called Okoloma of Yoruba land chieftaincy title conferred on engineer Dotun Sanusi within 48 hours or face the consequences, unquote, the statement said. All right. Let me see the reactions of Nigerians concerning this so-called battle between two prominent kings of the Yoruba land. Meanwhile, concerning the same title, Okoloma of Yoruba land, OONI of IFE has dismisses 48 hours ultimatum, describes ALAAFIN of Oyo as a comedian. Two actors, OONI of IFE, Oba Enitan Adeyeye Ogunwusi, has refused to respond to the 48 hours ultimatum issued by the ALAAFIN of Oyo, Oba Abimbola Akeem Owoade, over the controversial Okoloma of Yoruba land chieftaincy title he recently conferred on Ibadan-based businessman, engineer Dotun Sanusi, also known as Ilaji. Speaking on Tuesday through his spokesperson, Moses Olafare, the OONI dismissed the threat as empty, unquote, and unworthy of an official response. All right, so in a Facebook post, Olafare disclosed that Oba Ogunwusi personally directed him to ignore the ALAAFIN's warning, insisting that the matter had already been subjected to the court of public opinion. Okay. Olafare described the ALAAFIN as, let me quote, a comedian, probably the likes of Baba Suwe or Alawada Keri Keri. Moses Olaiya, the one we call Baba Salah in the olden days. May God rest his soul. Now, likening him to the late popular comedian Moses Olaiya, better known as his stage name, Baba Salah. This is exactly what I just said. Quoting him further, he said, my principal has directed me against issuing a press release on empty threat of the Alawada Baba Salah, unquote, he said. He continued, let me say this, I beg to disappoint you, gentlemen of the press. We cannot dignify the undignifiable with an official response. We leave the matter to be handled in the public court of opinion as it is already being treated. He said further, let me quote him, let's rather focus on narratives that unite us rather than the one capable of dividing us. No press release, please. 48 hours, my foot. All right. Now, the ALAAFIN had on Monday described the OONI's action as an affront and a direct challenge on his authority after the conferment of the OONI of Yoruba land title on Sanusi. In a statement signed by the Director of Media and Publicity, Bode Durojaye, the Oyo monarch declared that the ALAAFIN holds the exclusive right to bestow Yoruba-wide titles, citing a Supreme Court ruling as precedent. He said, let me quote him, the conferment of a Yoruba-wide chieftaincy title by the OONI is not only ultra-vires, but an insult to the Titan of Yoruba land. The Supreme Court itself has ruled that only the ALAAFIN has such authority, yet OONI continues to act above the law, trampling on both tradition and the courts, unquote, the statement read. The ALAAFIN warned that failure by the OONI to withdraw the title within 48 hours would attract, quote, unquote, consequences. Let's see. This is not the first time both stools have clashed over chieftaincy titles. As a matter of fact, in 1991, let me bring back your memory, the late ALAAFIN Oba Lamidi Adeyemi accused the then OONI of Ife, Oba Okunade Shijuade, of desecrating tradition after he conferred the Akinrogun of Yoruba land title on Chief Tom Ikimi, then the national chairman of the National Republican Convention. All right. Now, let's look at this crisis from the angle of Gani Adams. Now, let me quickly borrow a proverb from the Yorubas. This proverb says, "Àgbà kì í wà lọ́jà, kí orí ọmọ tuntun wọ́," which simply translates to an elderly person cannot be in the market and you see a toddler with bent neck. On this, Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land, Gani Adams, speaks on ALAAFIN OONI clash. Now, let me read what he said. Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land, Iba Gani Adams, has reacted to the renewed clash between the ALAAFIN of Oyo, Oba Akim Owode, and the OONI of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi. According to him, it is an issue between two fathers, but he has initiated moves to resolve it. The latest disquiet came when the ALAAFIN asked the OONI to resign the decision to confer on businessman Dotun Sanusi, the OONI of Yoruba land, giving him 48 hours. The OONI has called the ALAAFIN's bluff, even as there is a claim that Sanusi was made the OONI Oodua. As the argument rages, Gani Adams said on Tuesday, let me quote him, "It is an issue between two fathers. I have been calling Yoruba leaders to look for a way to resolve it. We don't want the unity of the Yoruba land to be tampered with." Gani said further, let me quote him, "I will be in touch with the two fathers. I will talk to them, but I have talked to some of the Yoruba leaders that we should weigh in on the issue. Before I became Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò, I had been very, very close to the palace of OONI. At the same time, I was very close to the late ALAAFIN of Oyo." Gani Adams continued, let me quote him again. "So, I see them as two fathers. Anything that happens between your two fathers, you must look for a way to resolve it amicably. We don't want to open our old wounds in public," unquote. Acknowledging the resolution of the crisis as long overdue, Iba Gani Adams said it was expedient for the leaders to intervene to ensure that all issues between the Obas are amicably resolved, rallying the need for intervention of all Yoruba relevant leaders. Adams expressed optimism that the impasse between the two monarchs will be resolved in no distant time. Gani said further, let me quote him, "It is an issue that will be resolved by the leaders of the Yorubas. our political figures have a role to play too. Apart from the individual leaders, our political leaders have a role to play, and our real fathers have a role to play. We know that the issue has been lingering for a long time, but in the long run, I believe it will be resolved very, very soon. Unquote. The Yoruba Council of Elders urge restraint from the royal fathers to avert further action contrary to the Omoluabi ethos. All right, that is the end of the gist for today.